In the 18th century, if an empire wanted your land, they sent warships and soldiers. They planted a flag and called it a colony. But in 2026, conquest looks much different. There are no soldiers, only bankers. There are no muskets, only signatures on a loan agreement. Today, nations aren't conquered by force, they are conquered by interest rates. Welcome to the era of the debt empire. Today on YieldVerse, we are revealing the hidden mechanics of modern-day colonialism. We'll show you how debt has replaced the bayonet, and how sovereign nations are being sold, piece by piece. To satisfy balance sheet, the empires of old never left, they just traded their uniforms for suits. Welcome back to YieldVerse. We live in a world that claims to be decolonized, but if you look at the debt-to-GDP ratios of developing nations, a different story emerges. Sovereignty is an illusion if you don't control your own economy. Today, we are analyzing the rise of financial neocolonialism. We'll look at how the world as superpowers use debt-trap diplomacy to seize ports, mines, and infrastructure without firing a single shot. This is the blueprint of the new global order. Let's start with the West's favorite tool, the International Monetary Fund (IMF). When a developing nation faces a crisis, the IMF arrives with a bailout. But this money comes with strings attached, what they call structural adjustments. They force nations to privatize their water, their electricity, and their natural resources. They demand cuts to education and healthcare to ensure the debt is paid first. This is economic shock therapy. The nation stays technically independent, but its entire domestic policy is dictated by a boardroom in Washington, D.C. They aren't building a partner, they are building a perpetual debtor. On the other side of the world, we have the Belt and Road Initiative. This is the ultimate example of modern debt trap diplomacy. China offers massive loans for infrastructure, ports, bridges, and railways that these nations can't possibly afford to repay. When the default inevitably happens, the collateral is seized. Look at the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, leased to China for 99 years because the debt couldn't be paid. No invasion was necessary. The port was taken with a pen, not a sword. This is the new map of the world, a network of strategic assets owned by creditors, not the people who live there. Why do leaders agree to these loans? It's simple: corruption and short-termism. Political leaders want grand projects to show off during elections. The bankers offer easy money upfront, knowing the next generation will be the ones to suffer. This is a cycle of predatory lending at a state level. By the time the people realize the trap, the country's future has already been mortgaged. The debt empire thrives on the greed of the few and the ignorance of the many. It is the most efficient form of empire ever created because the slaves pay for their own chains. At YieldVerse, we believe the only way to resist a debt empire is through true sovereignty, asset-backed currencies, moving away from the dollar debt cycle, decentralized finance, building infrastructure that doesn't require permission from global lenders, strategic self-sufficiency, producing what you consume so you don't have to borrow to survive. The modern sovereign individual must recognize that personal debt is a microcosm of national debt. If you are in debt, you are a subject. If you are debt-free, you are a threat to the system. The soldiers are gone, but the empires remain. They just changed their tactics. The question for 2026 is, will we continue to rent our existence from global creditors, or will we reclaim our ownership? Which do you think is more dangerous, military colonialism or debt colonialism? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you are ready to learn how to protect your wealth from the coming global debt reset, hit that subscribe button and join the YieldVerse movement. Stay sovereign. I'm your host, and I'll see you in the next one.